Consequences for the entire planet and fundamentally alter life for humans.
If the world doesn't make big changes soon, by the year 2040, we could very well have released enough greenhouse gases that we will have locked in a global temperature rise of 3.6 degrees, which is where potentially irreversible and catastrophic changes kick in.
Arctic temperatures increased almost twice the global average rate in the past 100 years. There have been more intense droughts over wider areas, especially in the tropics. There's been less snow, fewer cold days and nights, and more killer heat waves. And the future, if we don't curb gas emissions, will only get worse.
If we keep emitting greenhouse gases at current rates, we'll see bigger changes in this current century than we did in the last century.
They estimate temperatures could rise between 3.5 and 8 degrees, and sea levels rise between 7 to 23 inches.
It would also have wider security and stability implications.
This is NBC News Digest, sponsored by Michelob Light. Here is Jessica Savage, NBC News.
And finally, a federal report today predicted possible catastrophic warming of the Earth by the 1990s with the strong climate change. I'm Jessica Savage in New York. More news later on this NBC station.
If the world doesn't make big changes soon, by the year 2040, we could very well have released enough greenhouse gases that we will have locked in a global temperature rise of 3.6 degrees, which is where potentially irreversible and catastrophic changes kick in.
Catastrophic warming of the Earth by the 1990s with the strong climate change.
Lying to the public about how devastating the effects of global warming or climate change will be is of course a very precarious and difficult lie to get correct. You have to make the threat to human preservation immediate enough to scare the population into thinking they will personally be affected, while simultaneously making sure the range of time is long enough so the public will forget and forgive if you are incorrect in your dire prognostications. It appears the elite and media have decided on a range of 2 to 3 decades in order to properly scare the public while not being caught in their own lies. The enormous mistake that NBC News made with their 1983 report from Jessica Savage was to claim that by the 1990s there would be catastrophic changes. Of course, these catastrophic changes never occurred, so the public is left wondering why they are being told misinformation. It is important to keep the range of time long enough so the public's short-term memory can be completely erased, while simultaneously making sure the public is aware of their own self-preservation and is worried that their lives will be affected. If the period of time is beyond one's own lifespan, it is highly likely that they will not care about the subject matter and will not give in to the agenda.
In 1977, the worst winter in a century struck the United States.
I think we'd have to think about moving someplace else.
Move where? The brutal buffalo winter might become common all over the United States. Climate experts believe the next ice age is on its way. According to recent evidence, it could come sooner than anyone had expected. At weather stations in the far north, temperatures have been dropping for 30 years. Seacoasts, long free of summer ice, are now blocked year-round. According to some climatologists, within a lifetime, we might be living in the next ice age. What will we do when the fragile balance of climate shifts from today's abnormal warmth and the next ice age begins? What can we do to stop it? Nuclear energy might be used to loosen polar ice caps. Sea ice could be melted by covering it with black soot to increase the absorption of sunlight. Dr. Stephen Schneider is a climatologist from the National Center for Atmospheric Research.
Can we do these things? Yes. But will they make things better? I'm not sure. We can't predict with any certainty what's happening to our own climatic future. How can we come along and intervene then in that ignorance? You could melt the ice caps. What would that do to the coastal cities? The cure could be worse than disease. Would that be better or worse than the risk of an ice age?
If we are unprepared for the next advance, the result could be hunger and death on a scale unprecedented in all of history. What scientists are telling us now is that the threat of an ice age is not as remote as they once thought. During the lifetime of our grandchildren, Arctic cold and perpetual snow could turn most of the inhabitable portions of our planet into a polar desert.
And they'll push again, and I'll say to them, read my lips.